I'm Christy Craig, and this is my son, St. John Sowell.
I moved to LA and Hollywood actually in 1978, and a friend, a really good friend of mine, who was from Connecticut, named Gary Prado, and we had grown up together. And his mom and my mom were friends. Gary moved to California, moved to Hollywood, and he became a big agent at William Morris Agency. So he said to me, I'm getting you out of Connecticut, I'm gonna take you out of Bridgeport, you gotta come to Hollywood, and you need to make it, and I'm gonna get you a place to live. And he actually got me a bungalow. I'll never forget, it was right under the Hollywood sign. And it went from black and white TV to, in a way, to moving to this, like, wow, I'm really here, this is unbelievable. I was there about a year and nothing happened, and I had to go back. Home, back to Connecticut. And when I went back home, I ended up working with Edgar Winter Group. And then something said, you gotta go back to California. So I went back, and it was my wife and myself, Anne Marie, and we said, let's give it a try. We didn't give it enough time. So we went back, and things weren't going well for a long time. And we just kept trying, and nothing happened. But I was recording a lot of songs, and I kept saying, I'm not gonna give up, I'm not gonna give up. I think it's still out there, And whatever little money I had, I was recording demos. And I was telling Derek yesterday and the people that, sometimes, they don't come out well. You only have a little bit of money, and you can't buy the best studios, and you get whatever money you have, and you get whatever that can buy. And then when the clock runs out, it's like putting money in a machine, and it just runs out, and then you got to put more money in it. So when you only get whatever quality you can afford. So I said, I don't care. We just record these songs. And so one of those songs was Back on the Streets, and I thought, is this really? I think this has it, And another one of the songs was I Need Love, but that was later changed to Shoot Me Full of Love. So it was in the early stage, and there was a few others. So I had these demos, and I thought someone maybe will like this. Took them to all the record companies, and it was like, yeah, kid, yeah. Keep working on it, kid. You'll get there. So it's always that discouraging thing. You know what you want, you go back home, you work on more, and I heard through, just like every other guitar player hears, that KISS was looking for a guitar player, and I just thought, well, that's for me. I know I'm right for that band, but that's too much, way too big. I mean, that's like the ultimate dream of the ultimate dreams, and just for fate, entering my life in a very strange way. Back on the Streets found its way to Michael James Jackson, who was producing what was going to be Creatures of the Night album. Although at the time, he was working with KISS in the studio at the record plant, and KISS were looking for songs, and they were looking for a guitarist. But I didn't know any of this, other than there was a chance that I would be auditioning for the band. So one thing led to another, which was Michael heard Back on the Streets, and he said, I like this song so much, let me give it to Gene and Paul and see what they say. And I remember waiting at home, I was literally looking at the telephone, here's my and I'm just watching the phone, For days I'm watching the phone, and then he says, I remember getting this phone call, and he says, Vinnie, this is Michael James Jackson. And I said, yeah, and the guys really loved the song, and we want you to come to the studio, and it was the record plant. And this is the way I remember it. So most of this is like still very crystal clear in my mind. And so I came to the studio, and one of the first songs that I'm recording for this record with KISS in this studio was Back on the Streets. So that recording with Paul singing Back on the Streets still exists because it was originally recorded for the Creatures of the Night album. And I'm thinking, oh Jesus, look, this is too big for my mind to handle. But at the same time, I felt I was so right for this band, you know, even though the dream was bigger than me. It was life bigger than, you know, us, or are we bigger than life? It's hard to know, but this was bigger than life for me. But I felt in my heart that this was meant to be. And we just kept recording, and one thing led to another. Michael said, you know, this is a good match. I want you to write more songs with Gene and Paul. And I'm thinking, this is like not happening to me. This is happening to me, you know? And you just never really believe that you're doing this with people like this, that you've idolized all your life, you know? This was like somebody saying to me, in my world, you know, which is exactly what I experienced with them, but like George Martin saying, we want you to write with Paul McCartney and John Lennon, and it was like, no way. You know? So that was how it was for me. And you know, meeting them was, you know, at first it was, I feel like I know you because I feel like I'm what you want and what you need and what I can bring to the band. And then we began writing songs together, and then one thing led to another, which was the songs themselves, how they came to be. So I Love It Loud began to find its way, you know, as a completed song, and I'm thinking, this is the magic, you know, that I've always been looking for. And I couldn't believe it was happening, you know? And Paul and I began writing songs, and one of the first songs we wrote was I Still Love You. And I'm thinking, geez, this is incredible, you know? And, you know, the clarity of all of this is so wonderful for me, because the memories are what we're all here for, you know? The music that KISS left all of us with, and the great times, and you know, the years of us growing up, and how much we love this music. And this is really why I'm here, is to celebrate all of this with you. And it brings me back to these times, which were, you know, actually some of my happiest memories ever. So the songs were coming together and developing, and then while we were working together, while these songs were becoming songs, they were still having guitar players come in and audition. Is this what you remember me telling you? And each time somebody would come in, I'm thinking, oh, you know, this guy's got the job, you know, he's really great looking, you know. And I would say to Gene, well, this is after we got to know each other a little bit. I'd say, why don't you pick me? Because I'm writing the songs with you. I mean, we've got a magic, you know? Look at the songs Paul and I are writing, and you and I are writing, and Killer was one of the 5 songs that we wrote together. And I said, well, this magic is happening, you know? Why don't you pick me? I'm right for this band, you know? I said, look at me playing, and I get on my knees. You know, don't get on your knees. It's okay, you know. You don't think so? No, it looks stupid. Okay, got it. You know, and I mean, they know best. What did I know? You know, and I was just, you know, still cooking spaghetti at home. You know, so what do I know? So, I mean, I think I ate that every night for, you know, for 6 months in a row, you know, because that was all we could afford. And so he said, no, you're too short. And I said, you're gonna let that stop you? Stop this band? I said, because I really think we're meant to be. And Gene's like, he's really a very, very special person, you know. I know, you know, he got kicked off Fox News for life, but there's word out there that he also got kicked off the Ed Sullivan Show for life, but if it ever comes back on again. But they'd have to get Ed Sullivan back before that happened. Now that was fun, that was a joke, so. But Gene is, if you're hearing me, Gene, you know how much I adore you. So, do you hear me, Gene? Gene, are you here? Are you here, Gene? Do you know how much I adore you or what? So, we had our downside for 20 years and it was really unnecessary, but I adore him and I also adore Paul. Without them, I would not be here talking to you, so they hold a really special place in my heart, in my life. So, anyway, so getting back to this story, and I'll try to sum it up quick. It kept saying, no, you're not right. We're looking for somebody 6 feet tall, and so after we're still writing these songs, and every guitarist, literally all over the country, was walking through the recording studio, and every time I'd see somebody, I'd say, well, he's got the job, he's beautiful looking. You know, this guy's, oh, look at him, he looks like a Greek guy, he's got the job, you know. And then I'd look in the mirror and I go, you're not gonna get this job, look at you. You know? So I see these beautiful guys, I mean, absolutely beautiful guys. And so I would go home discouraged and think, oh, okay, I'll never get this. This went on for many months, and I finally recorded the record with them, and I went home. And they said, well, we're flying to New York, Vinnie. Thanks for the work. The record sounds great. So I was home, and I was really discouraged. And now home to me was, you know, this little apartment. And Anne Marie, who was my wife at the time, she's no longer with us. She's deceased. But she's the mother of my girls, and she was a really beautiful person, and she was my best friend. So she worked like 2 jobs supporting us in California. And you know, she's saved my life in many ways. But she was pregnant, and I didn't know we were about to have twins. And we were still in California, and I get a call from I think it was from a tour manager, and said, the guys want you to come to New York and play another guitar solo for Keep Me Coming. I said, wow, really? You know, I said, really? So yeah, we want you back, so come on back. So here's a ticket, get on a plane. I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing, okay. And not knowing what was about to happen to New York, and I remember Eric met me at the airport and took me to the hotel. I checked in, went right to the recording studio, and started to, you know, hear the song. And I think about a day later, the solo was born. It was finished, and everybody seemed really happy. So I get. Thanks, Vin. It was really good. I think we really had a great track, and everybody's really happy, and good luck. I said, oh, really? Really? You sure? Yeah, good luck. Eric will take you to the airport. So I said, well, thanks a lot, you know, all my best. And, you know, this was like the greatest experience of my life. Do you remember in this the way I told it yesterday?
What I remember is the phone call that you got.
The phone call.
Got everybody choking.
Oh, the phone call was, Eric took me to the airport to go home. And I said, well, thanks a lot, Eric, you know. This was like such a great time, and I'll never forget it. So I'm walking on the airport. I'm walking onto the plane, to board the plane, and I just look back. I remember I see him. He goes, Vinnie, don't get on the plane. What? Come on back. So I come back, and the way I remember it was, he says, Gene wants to talk to you. So Gene says to me, listen, we want you to stick around here. We want to have we want to play live. We want you to play in the rehearsal studio with us and see how it goes. And I said, really? He says, yeah, we'll put you up for a couple of days and let's rehearse at SIR. And I said, oh, wow, okay, great, wow, you know. So we rehearsed for a couple of days, and I thought, gee, this is sounding so great. And then he says, well, thanks, Vin. We'll call you. You know, don't worry, we'll see what happens. And we're gonna rehearse, we're gonna audition some other guitar players. So I said, oh, wow, okay, thanks. I had a great time. Thanks so much, I'll never forget this. So Eric will take you to the airport. So, get in the car with Eric and he takes me to the airport. He says, don't worry, Vin, everything will be all right, okay? I said, yeah, well, all right, okay. Well, I said, you have my number, you know where to call me, right? Yeah. So I'm getting back, I go back to Los Angeles and go back to my apartment. Now I'm there, now I'm really, you know, I don't know what to think. So most of me had thought, God, I wrote these songs, we got the magic, you know, but then Gene says I'm too short and it's not gonna work. So then we rehearsed. And I thought, this is all going so well. And then I get the call again. One more call, I'll never forget this. And I think it was Gene. It was Gene. He said, Vin, we want you to join the band. Now, the call came at the moment I am in the bathtub taking a bath. And, you know, it was like a real simple tub, you know. I said, I need a bath. I gotta clean here, you know. And I wasn't home long. And he said, we want you to come back to New York. Get on the next plane and you're going to be in the band. You're going to be our new guitarist. And I went, we made great music and our band became so great. The problem I remember was that I was stepping into Ace's shoes. I was a replacement, and I didn't think there was any way to, you know, you can't replace Ace, you know? There's no way to do that. You know, he was like, you know, he was a god in his own way, and part of the band that was, you know, this incredible piece of rock history. And I was there to, you know, I was there to give him, you know, my you know, adoration and saying, I can never replace you, so I'll do the best I can, you know, to make the band as, you know, as good as we could be.
Was there, you know, Eric set precedent that they created a new character for him. Was there ever any talk of you wearing Ace's makeup, or were you going to be the original character from the beginning?
There was not a talk of Ace's makeup, no. Actually, I think I have a picture. It was something similar to Ace's makeup, but it wasn't his. It was like another version of that, but all of the pieces became so, you know, they laid out, which without design, it almost seems like, you couldn't have planned any of this if you tried, you know? And it was a power greater than anybody that just let this piece connect to this piece and connect to this, because you just, there's no way people could, it would seem there's no way that we can be in control of any of this, you know? It was a big difference. It really was.
He asked if there was a difference between playing with the makeup and without.
It was a big difference for the reason that the days with the makeup were, now try to realize it from the eyes of Gene and Paul. And they taught me so much, you know. I mean, I was inexperienced, I was young, I didn't know what I was doing, I was just a guitar player, I had songs in me, and I had the vision, the dream, but I mean, you know, they taught me how to perform, they taught me, you know, to have, you know, a worldliness that I didn't have, you know? And, you know, when you don't have anything, you know, I mean, I grew up in a poor family, and, you know, we did our best, you know, like everybody, and we struggled, and, you know, these were people that I idolized. So to try to be there, you know, I know I'm going off subject, but it's all part of it, you know. And what they taught me was how to be a part of their world when, you know, I was only, you know, my world was really small, you know, and what did I know? I didn't know any better. I wanted to know better, but they helped me. They molded me, you know. In the early days with the makeup, Gene and I always shared a car, you know, a limo after the show, and he'd always tell me, well, don't do this. You look stupid doing this. Oh, that thing you did was pretty good. But he would always say, you know, it was hard to hear. It was so hard because, you know, you want to please. I wanted so much to please them, you know, and for me it was everything to please them, to make them feel like I'm worthy of this, and, you know, I want you to be proud of me. I want you to want me, you know, and a lot of this was my insecurity because I never felt that they wanted me, you know. I know Paul didn't want me, but I think Gene saw the potential, and I think Paul would say, I don't know why we got this guy, you know? And I would think, well, I'm here, but I think you're wrong. I think there's a new page, there's a new chapter that's going to happen for this band. I don't know how or why, but I don't think this was the wrong thing to happen. I think this was going to work. But I didn't know at the time, so Gene would always say, I don't think you need to do this. This doesn't work. No, everything you do, you look stupid. Don't do this. You look good here, you don't look good here. What you're playing here, don't do it. You know. So
now, why do you say Paul didn't want you there?
Let me tell you something about Paul. No, I really want you to hear this, because yesterday I said, "Mean Mr. Mustard," and as soon as I said that, it was all over the internet. And I thought, because I did a show with Eddie Trump. We did an interview. He said, "Tell me about Paul," and I said, "Mean Mr. Mustard." But that's a Beatles song. I don't know who knows that, who doesn't know that. So what I can tell you about Paul is this: it's really, really something that's my only I would know. But people that are that gifted have, like all of us, we have our personalities, you know. We have our what it is that makes us who we are. And when we knew each other then, you know, there was no way I could be in his world, you know. And so for the things that were my shortcomings, Paul's very perceptive, you know. And he would say, I hate this thing. This thing that you do, I hate it, you know? And I wouldn't see it through his eyes until I got older. But he's really a really extremely kind soul, and he's a great singer. He's the ultimate perfectionist, professional. He's the ultimate frontman. I mean, he's Paul Stanley, you know? But I love him, and I'll tell you what, I had the greatest time with Paul when we were writing and performing. But my shortcomings, I wasn't able to see at the time, you know, because I wasn't looking at it through his eyes, you know, and the idea of what I said was it was a part of my love for him, but this is, you know, he has this way of looking at people's, you know, rightfully so, but he has a way of zeroing in on my problems, you know, what he finds like doesn't sit right with him, and that's fine, because you live, you learn, and you grow, you know. And then when I look back at the things I did, I go, what a jerk, you know. When I look back at some of the things I've said, I go, I wish I had said it. So, seeing it from his eyes, you know, although some of the things he said is hurtful to me, if he was right, then that's the way it is, you know. And I'm not saying this to, you know, to cop out on anything, but when you grow, when this journey is over, you've got to say to yourself, did you learn anything, you know? Were you better for it, or were you not? If you don't learn, then you never get better as a person. And I really wanted to be better, you know? I wanted to be more knowledgeable. I wanted to, you know, be better than I was. You know, so all of my life, all I did was play guitar, listen to music, play guitar, write songs, and whatever else came as being, you know, living and being, you know, a worldlier person. I wasn't there. That was not what I was at that time. So, yeah, I say some of the things I said because I know he wrote a book, and I know he said these things, and I'm like, God, you know. But was he right? Maybe he probably was, you know. And do I remember? No, I don't remember. But I know some of the things happened. Like somebody said to me, wasn't that Paul? You yelled at him. You know, they cut you off on a guitar solo, you know. And it's like, and I yelled, you know. Oh, I wanted to play. Let me play, you know. But I didn't see things the way I should have seen them, or what the way I could have seen them had it been later in my life. But so be it. We made great music, and I'm fucking proud of it, you know.
So what ultimately led? I mean, you had Creatures, Lick It Up, the great tours, and then after Lick It Up, things seemed to fall apart. What happened?
They didn't fall apart. They were stronger than ever. And the problem was really simple. I was writing a lot of songs, and I felt us growing so much as a band, and I wanted them to want me. And I know that they wanted, I know they wanted Eric, they loved Eric, but I didn't feel that they wanted me. And even after Lick It Up is, you know, the perception of it, you know, was a big album, and I still felt, no matter what I do, they're just not going to want me in this band, you know. And there was a contract they wanted me to sign, but I was bringing, my take-home pay was $550 a week. So I never made any money being in the band.
Wait, so you were making $550 a week
Take home.
of KISS during the Lick It Up tour, or the whole period?
From the beginning to the end. it was $550 a week. Pardon me? Well, that's what they paid me. I mean, that was my take home after taxes. And to be honest with you, I wanted so much. This was my dream to be in this band. This was, I didn't want anything as much as I wanted this. This was like, you know, maybe just a little bit so I can buy a house or something, you know. Maybe I could buy a nice car, you know, something. But there was just, you know, that wasn't gonna happen. And there was a contract that they wanted me to sign. It was an employment contract, and there was literally nothing in it for me. And I have to be honest, otherwise, you know, I'm here for nothing. If you don't hear it, because these are all the questions everybody has had, if I don't tell you the truth, or at least my truth, my version, which I've never really told anybody. But if I don't tell you, I mean, this is all bullshit, and I want you to know. Otherwise, it doesn't work. This is all for nothing for me. And I was making $550 a week. I had a family. I had twins that I didn't know I was going to have, and there was no money to take care of them, and there was no money to buy a home. We were living with relatives, and I was on call 24 hours a day, which was okay. It was all okay. But I couldn't move on. There was no future. There was a future being Vinnie Vincent of KISS, and you know what that was. But financially, there was no future in it for me, and I didn't want to be a royalty member, although that would have been nice, but that's not what I asked for. I just asked for something that, you know, could take me out of living in an apartment or with my relatives, and maybe, you know, a nice car instead of driving around in a car the size of a can of tuna, you know, and while I'm on the road, I've got, you know, a family, you know, I got little children, and I'm on the road, and I'm saying to myself, yeah, but they're driving on the freeway with a car like this, and I got 2 infants, and what if something happens? These are not the things that I wanted to have on my mind. I wanted to know that they were well taken care of, and at least that some of my value, my worth to them, would have been special to them, and said, look, we can afford to make this work for you, you know? And they just didn't. So at the end of Lick It Up tour, the pressure was so unbearable to sign this contract, and it was a contract that was all for us and none for Vinnie. And I said, I can't. Just please treat me better than this, and everything will be fine. It was nothing. I never saw any royalties during the time I was in the band. There was just a paycheck that I took home $550 a week. So after Lick It Up tour, you know, it was a success, and I'm thinking, we have a great band. This is a new chapter, you know. This is now, the makeup came off. You know, this was probably for Gene and Paul a really difficult time, because that, you know, the makeup was what the band was. To remove it, I think, was a bit of a relief. This is my opinion. It's a bit of a relief, but a bit of, you know, a bit of fear, trepidation, because you didn't know what was coming. But Lick It Up said, even with Vinnie, this worked, you know? So the songs are great, the reception was great, the tours were great, and at the end of the Lick It Up tour, I remember the last unfortunate thing that we said to each other was, everybody go, you know, we're gonna record a new record, come back in about 2 months with your new songs. Everybody said, well, see you then. We're all gonna record our new songs, demo them, bring them together, and see what we got for the new record.
Yeah. And what were those songs?
I recorded and demoed Boys Are Gonna Rock, Shoot You Full of Love, No Substitute, Animal, and Twisted. Those were the 5 songs that I wrote that I was going to bring back, because in my mind, well, I mean, they were demoed, and I said, oh, this is going to be one hell of a Kiss record. And I think they're going to love them, you know. So they asked me to come back, and I said, I will come back. I want to come back, but I've got to survive. I can't survive on this, you know? And I'm coming back with a great album. Can't we make this work? And unfortunately, the answer was no. So, unless you sign the contract, then you can't come back. And I said, you know what, this is gonna break my heart, and I can't come back. So then, about a month later, in May of '84, they sent me a letter saying, well, you're fired. So, I guess it was redundant because, you know, whatever. But again, because I already said I wasn't coming back if you can't make this work. And that's what happened. And it broke my heart. But I had no money, nothing. And so the fear of, I just came all the way, all this pain, all this struggle, all this for nothing. You know, to do what? To end this and go home again and say what? I've got demos, well now what? Now I got demos, what the hell am I gonna do with these?